We're with Mark Rein-Hagen to talk about the undead democracy. And we're going to start off with the big news yesterday that you're back with White Wolf.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing thing. After all these years and all these editions, I kind of sort of left things off on the second, and that was my culmination of my work there. And now I'm back for the fifth, so I missed two. Sort of being on this amazing team, and honestly, I think it's an amazing team. And, to sort of see the artwork that's already come out and sort of have input into this and be able to add all the things I've been thinking about all these years. You're like, oh, I wish I had done that. Oh, I should have said this. And now being able to do that, wow.
Are you going to just be kind of in the background for the team pitching in ideas, or are we actually going to see books written by you again?
Basically I have a beginning, I have to do 50,000 words in the next 3 months.
Okay.
So yeah, and then after that, we're going to be one of the Make Believe Games will be one of the companies producing supplements. So we plan on doing a lot of our own take on things, and we're hoping to get some of the juicier properties, maybe even Sabbat. We'll see. So, certainly I have a lot to say still in the Vampire universe, and they're perfectly happy to let me have some say. I'm not taking over, I'm part of a team, but it feels really good to be part of a team where we are all so aligned in what we want to do. I think Martin created a really strong vision of how to do this as a continuation of the second edition, and also something a little bit new, and so I'm on board.
Okay. Have you kind of looked at what the reactions were once you put it out on social media and once it was official?
Holy smokes! I thought there'd be at least some people. I mean, it is the internet. Would be like, hey, you rah rah rah. But no, it's been like, just checked this morning, 500 likes, 200 comments. That's on my personal page. All over the media, it's been hundreds of thousands, not hundreds, but tens of thousands maybe. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay. That's all things that are in the future. Let's talk a little bit about the things that you have here at Make Believe Games that are already out. And I'd like to talk about democracy, because it's kind of a little bit different than what you usually do.
Yeah. Democracy is a game where you play, it's all based on my experience as a political consultant. I was with the president of Georgia, Misha Saakashvili, and I was very, very frustrated. And so finally I turned to him and said, sir, what do you see as democracy is? And he said, democracy is, because I'm president, I get to throw those assholes in jail. And I was like, oh my God. And then that night, I went to my friends who were all in the opposition. I said, what do you guys think democracy is? And they all said, when we win the next election, we're going to throw his ass in jail. And I was like, that's not how that's not how I see democracy. So this is a game about compromise. To win the game, you have to negotiate with people and find a compromise. You have to find the middle. You have to find something that makes both you and another player happy. And then even though it doesn't make you completely happy, it's better to get half a deal than no deal. And so this game is basically about that. It's about finding the middle.
Okay, it's basically the prisoner experiment.
Yes, it is very much.
Made into a game.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Okay. What is kind of the end goal or the setting of this? So people work together as different political parties, and they're all striving for.
Yeah, you basically take one of the on the political wheel. Yeah. So you can be liberal versus tradition, or it could be neutral, and you have different alignments on the political wheel. And then you're voting for cards, you're trying to take over places, and whoever has the most supporters in a location can win, unless someone else combines their supporters with your supporters, and then together you might have the most supporters. So it's all about coalitions and coming together.
Okay, born out of frustration, and I think it's right on time, the game.
I always say to politicians, you need to play my game. Because we need more compromise, folks. Not with the fascists, but with each other against the fascists.
Okay, so...
Fascists are on my mind, as you might imagine, lately, here in America.
Yeah, and not only here in America, because you live in Georgia, and it's not the U.S. Georgia, it's the real Georgia, and they have a lot of problems with the Russians taking over the border.
Absolutely, and we have a lot of problems with nationalists, who a lot of people think are paid by the Russians to be nationalists. Just recently, this has made international news, they broke into my friend's vegan cafe, and were throwing meat on the walls, and so yeah, there's fascists everywhere.
Meat fascists.
Meat fascists.
Okay. Something completely different. Let's talk about I Am Zombie, which is happily shambling along like Imhotep on your 12-year plan, I think it was.
Absolutely. It's the first in a series of games. And in this one, you play an intelligent zombie. And just like Vampire, it's a whole complete world, and it's the first of 5 games.
Yes.
And the next game is Xenofactor, which is about alien abductions, and we actually decided we're going to come out with a small box version of that game. And this is our small box version of I Am Zombie. It's also a supplement called Toxicity.
That's kind of like 70s?
A 70s, very much like the original D&D dungeon crawl in the undercity of New York, or any big city. So... but yeah, we're going to keep coming out with these things, and it's a card-based system. So you, instead of having a character sheet, you just pick 5 cards, and this lets you play a role-playing game without a pen and paper, and it lets you play very, very quickly. And if you lose your character, oops, you can make a new one like that. So it's meant to be a great introductory way to get someone into gaming, which is what I want more than anything else. I want people to role-play. I love role-playing. I want more people to role-play.
Okay. After the years that you've now worked as a political advisor, kind of leaving a little bit the gaming world behind for a few years, how does it feel to be back?
It feels great. Very happy to be here. Very happy. Oh, I have one more game. And so we just had a meeting, and I'm approved for doing a White Wolf Vampire 5th Edition board game called Conclave. So it'll be out for Essen, not this year, but next year. We'll have a Kickstarter sometime in the next few months. And it's going to be, we'll have a deluxe version with busts of like Theo Bell as your clan leader. So all the 7 clans will have a clan leader with busts, and it will be, it's going to be a fantastic game. I'm very excited. And that's my most thrilling news after, also being back on the team to write 5th edition. So I get to do a board game, and I'm writing. It's like a dream. It's a dream come true.
Okay, Conclave. That's going to be about the clan leaders, kind of.
Yeah, it's actually shares some mechanics with democracy. And it's basically like a negotiation game, like Game of Thrones or Diplomacy. Only you can actually play a game in an hour or an hour and a half. So it's very rapid fire. It's a lot of bluffing. Like poker, and it's very vampire in tone, because you're basically trying to screw each other over, which is, after all, the whole fun of Vampire, right?
And can be hard sometimes in friendships, but yes.
Yeah, so in this case, you betray each other so many times, it just becomes funny.
Okay.
Whereas in Diplomacy or Game of Thrones, you betray them once after being together the whole game, and then they're very, very angry. So in this case, I think I've solved that problem, because you negotiate and break your word like 20 times a game, and at some point you just go, okay, fine.
So I still have nightmares about Diplomacy. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes, because you invested so much time, and then they betray you. It's like a broken marriage.
Yeah.
It's no fun. But I think if it's a shorter game, and there's lots of little deals, it's less painful, much less painful.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
We're with Jason Carr from White Wolf, the old White Wolf. It's kind of transcendent. You're the same, but you're new at the same time, and you're working on the One World of Darkness now. What is the one thing you're working on right now, and what step are we?
We're working on Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition, which is the newest version of the role-playing game. And we are in the alpha design stage. And what that means is we have a core rules system and a set of design principles that we're ready to share with World of Darkness fans around the world.
What are the design principles? When looking back at Vampire the Masquerade, I think the principle was keep it simple.
We do want to simplify the game system. What we want to do is make sure that Players who enjoy story can find the story immediately and enjoy it, but those who also like a more strategic approach to the game can find something that they enjoy too. We're borrowing freely from previous editions of the game, so you might see familiar concepts from any version of Vampire that's ever been in print, but you'll see some very new, very progressive and innovative new ideas as well.
And let's talk a little bit about the world. Where are you going to take your inspiration from mostly? I guess from Vampire the Masquerade, because it shares the same name, and less from Requiem?
Yes, we are. That's fair to say. The story picks up right where Vampire Revised and Vampire 20th Edition left off.
Okay.
And we bring the story forward 17 years to tonight. So we will look at what's happening with the Camarilla and the Anarchs and the Sabbat and all the clans. And we will fill in the story gaps that have existed for almost 2 decades now. And so players who sit down to play Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition will be beginning with brand new stories in a world that they already love.
Okay, and about the art design, looking around here, it looks like you're going for the same look that the V20 edition had, that you take photos and then you stylize them. Is that what you're going for?
Not quite. You're going to see this weekend some new art for Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition. Our art director, Mary Lee, who is in Los Angeles right now, has just completed work on the Toreador clan. And what we've decided to do is adopt 2 approaches for 5th edition. We'll have a very realistic form of photography that captures and shows you what the vampires really look like. And the person leading that effort is Mary Lee, our art director, and she's using models and photographers and wardrobe and makeup to bring the world of darkness to life through photos. But we'll also use illustration, which is the more familiar method, both black and white and full color, and those will capture moods and themes of the world that people love. And so we'll have both of those to show you what the world of darkness looks like in 5th edition.
Okay, and you've been also a big name in the LARPing community for the World of Darkness.
Wow.
Yes, Mind's Eye Theater.
I don't know if I would put it quite like that, but I've been involved with Mind's Eye Theater for a long time, yes.
So is the 5th edition of the World of Vampire also going to support the LARPing community? Is there going to be a connection?
Absolutely there will be. Live action role-playing is very, very important to our future plans. It's a very immediate and personal form of role-playing. And Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition and live action will become complementary to each other. And that includes Mind's Eye Theater at some point. Once 5th edition is available, we'll start looking at how we bring Mind's Eye Theater into alignment with the new version of Vampire.
Okay. And when you first announced that White Wolf was back, that you're working on the One World of Darkness, I was kind of surprised how far you were looking into the future and saying, yes, we want to have a series, we want to have different media. Is that still what you're aiming for?
Absolutely. I think it's safe to say that White Wolf is a very ambitious company. We're young in this incarnation, but we have extremely talented people and wonderful partners and licensees. And together, I don't really think that there's any doubt that we're going to have a very successful family of transmedia products. We have ambitions in video games, we have ambitions in console games, movies, television, and really any media that you can think of that would be a good, fun expression of the world of darkness.
Okay. And last question, the World of Darkness, and especially Vampire, was really big in Germany. It still is really big in Germany. Yes. So are you still going to go international and produce different versions and make localizations, maybe for German?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's extremely important that we do 2 things. One, that we localize all the products, so it's available in as many languages as possible, as early as possible. But 2, I think it's extraordinarily important that as we go forward, we make sure that the people who are writing the World of Darkness are actively engaged in the communities, in the environments, and the countries that they're writing about. So we would really love to see books about Germany in the World of Darkness written by German people. We'd like to see books about Brazil in the World of Darkness written by people who live and work in Brazil too. I think it's extraordinarily important that we get that perspective.
Okay, so the new World of Darkness will have many flavors, will have many perspectives.
I think it's fair to say it's a global brand.
Okay. Thank you very much, and I'm
You're very
absolutely
welcome.
looking forward to what you're going to do with this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
We're at Monte Cook Games with Monte Cook himself, and I want to ask you a little bit about Numenera 2.0. So in Germany, we are running with Numenera, and it's going well, but now you've come out with 2.0. What are we going to do? What is this about?
Well, so the Kickstarter is next month, so the game will come out next year. And basically, this is not a whole new edition that's going to invalidate everyone's books or anything like that. What we want to do is we want to embrace the idea, we've always said that in Numenera, characters explore the past to build a new future. And so what Numenera 2 is going to do is we have two books. One's called Discovery, one's called Destiny. And Discovery will be very similar to the existing Numenera core book. We're going to do some slight revisions to character creation and whatnot, but nothing that will invalidate, any of the other products. Everything will still be compatible. And then Destiny will be a whole new book that will take the world of Numenera and take Numenera characters and give them the ability to take the strange, weird technologies that they find in Numenera and build new things, build vehicles, build whole communities, set up ways to defend a community that they begin to shepherd, and maybe even have a campaign that lasts for years as they watch sort of this community that they are attached to grow into something much, much larger and really develop something big.
Okay. So you can do even more and even weirder stuff and even longer stuff. And you've already expanded so much in Numenera with new regions and with, of course, the guide to the computer game. So are we going to see more regions of Numenera exploring the continent more in the future?
Probably in future projects. In this project, it won't be so much about new land as new ways to play the game. Yeah.
Okay. And one other thing we, of course, have to talk about is the mysterious black cube
Okay.
about Invisible Sun. Because I think still many people are like a little bit puzzled. What exactly is it going to be? So you said it's not based on anything. It's all completely new mysteries and ideas. Can you give us a glimpse what it's going to be?
So the world of Invisible Sun is very surreal. It's based on the idea of surrealism with almost a dream-like strangeness meshing with the real world, and so it's a world of magic. All the players use magic in some way. They use it in very different ways, but everyone expresses themselves through magic, and so the game is. That's why we have this big cube, because it's filled with cards that detail new spells that you might have, or magical items that maybe you found or even created, because one of the character types is someone who actually creates magic as opposed to cast spells, for example. And so the black cube is filled with all kinds of different stuff, a lot of material in 4 different books. Lots and lots of handouts to make the game easier and more fun to play, props. The idea is to give a very, very deluxe, wonderful experience as you sit around the table.
And do you have the feeling that the deluxe feeling is something that a lot of gamers are going for? We see a lot more deluxe versions of any game. Is it like the scene has matured? They want these?
I think so. It's a different experience. We kind of try to run the gamut. We have products that are very affordable. The Numenera starter set, for example, is just $25. But we also have on the other end, something like Invisible Sun, and I liken it to, some of the great board games that are out there. Like Fantasy Flight makes these beautiful board games, and you open up the box and you're pulling out counters and pieces and all these things, and that's a fun experience in and of itself. And I wanted to have that experience but with role-playing games.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We're with Larry Elmore for a quick interview. Thank you for taking the time. And what are the illustrations or the work that you've done that people are most asking for or looking for here at your booth?
Okay. The one picture that sells the most is the original basic red box cover with the red dragon on it. We thought we brought plenty of prints for this convention. We sold out like the second day. That's probably the most single piece, because it brings back a lot of good memories to a lot of people who play D&D.
I think that's true for most of your illustrations. People just look at them and they...
It brings back emotions from when they were a child. Yeah. And it's a lot of fun talking to everyone. Yeah.
And you also had a coloring book.
Yes.
Although it's already sold out. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well,
which illustrations did you choose for it?
Now, this is a book. It's a color book. It's a history of my life, and it's all the paintings that I could reproduce at this time. And we kept one, so now people are ordering it, yes. But we thought we brought 7 cases of these and sold them all out the second day. So obviously we didn't bring enough. But yeah, this is a big book. It was a Kickstarter book. It set a record 2 years ago for the most backed fantasy book. And I didn't think I would make enough to even publish it, but it went crazy. And it was a really happy time, you know. And but it is a book. I wrote it. Really, I done everything to do that book. I wanted to make a book so my grandkids one day will know what their crazy grandpa was like. Because my oldest grandchild is only 11, so by the time they get grown, I probably won't be around, and so they can look back and see what I was about.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.